Midget wrestling.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if anyone's gonna come into the chat. I'm gonna do this until we go, like a couple minutes after we go live.
Sure.
So, see if anyone comes in.
Jay, I would like you to explain. It says your show prep says we launched this notice. So, sort of give a little background and who is the we, and how did it come together? This document, it's full of legalese, so I don't want to start
it would be hard. It'd be a hard one to read.
But if there's some highlights or something,
There is.
that's a highlighter.
Thank you.
If you want to, figure that out. But I think it's important for the people to know, who is we, why did they come together, and, what's the sort of meat and potatoes of this thing?
Yep.
What does it mean?
You guys, we're just here in the Free Talk Live studios. We just hit our first break, and as you can see here on the clock, see the red hit the break when we're about to go green back on in a few seconds. I want you guys to call in. Brian Butler, call in to Free Talk Live. Number is in the title. 603-283-6160. And talk about anything. Talk about videos online, any kind of news topics, recent conflicts. I don't know. Just maybe not sports, but you could. It'd be boring. But yeah, we're here. I'm here with Jay Noon and Captain Kickass. Oh yeah. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Don't swear. Actually, don't swear, guys, on the air. Please don't swear. We'll dump you. It'll just be a toilet flushing. All right, we're going back on. Get over there. freetalklive.com, guys.
All right, here we go. Welcome back. Thank you for listening, tuning in to tonight's edition of Free Talk Live. If you are a first-time listener, you can find out all about this fantastic radio program over at freetalklive.com. You can also call in. We take calls. It's actually pretty easy to get on the air compared to most other radio shows. Our screening process is slight. And so it's pretty easy. 603-283-6160. I am your host tonight, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me,
Jay Noon.
And Joa.
We've been talking about this affidavit, notice of demand. I don't know if affidavit's the right word. Notice of demand to DCYF. If you're not familiar with that acronym, it's basically Child Protection Services. It's just that New Hampshire has a different name for that particular department. And Jay, you brought this in.
Kidnapper corporate? Corp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jay, you brought this in because you made a mention, we proposed this, or, some people got together and said, hey, this is the thing that we're going to do. Can you give us some background on, who is we, and, how did you all come together and decide to do this?
So by we, make it real simple. So essentially, the guy who is sort of instructing this, help come up with the affidavit. The main guy behind this is a guy named David Jose.
Mm-hmm.
If you internet search David Jose, there's a bunch of YouTube videos about him. I was just trying to find what his actual website is called here in a Telegram chat. You get pretty lost in these Telegram chats. Easy, it's hard to find stuff. But David Jose, he publishes a lot of stuff on Rumble. Pretty regularly. There is some stuff on YouTube, but he doesn't put anything on YouTube, and a lot of his YouTube stuff has come down. He is from Arizona. He's been very successful in fights against DCYF, or Child Protective Services, came against him several years ago, and he basically sat down and studied this, sort of common law to constitutional law stuff, claiming that it's first thing is one of the first things it says in this document, in this affidavit, is that the people I am one of the people, as seen in New Hampshire Constitution, which is like the highest authority is one of the people. The government employees are servants of the people. And so, yeah, that's David Jose right there.
Okay.
he's a Christian religious fella, so he talks a lot about God and Christ, and you which is fine. I'm not super like into that stuff. I kind of like the idea of a great spirit.
Yeah.
But I know there's something out there that's higher and greater than us. I just don't know really how to describe it or provide evidence of it.
I've come back. I used to be, a loud, if you will, atheist, right? And by loud, I mean not all loud, but like, loud about, hey, I don't really like any religion. They all claim to be, superior to each other, and why that just doesn't agree with me. But I've rolled that back. I now claim agnostic for the reasons that you just cited. I am in no way, shape, or form smart enough to say that there isn't something that I don't understand that exists in the world. Right?
Yeah.
There totally is. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I already don't understand about the world. Right? There are specialists in things and people who know stuff about things that I've never heard of. So it would be ignorant for me to believe that there wouldn't be something else out there that I don't understand, that maybe people are able to tap into, or maybe it's we'll call it force of nature, serendipity, right? These are words that I use frequently to describe these things as happening. So I've certainly rolled back to agnostic on that.
If you want to hear like the best logical argument for atheism, I would suggest listen to George Carlin, and then, but it's not about logic; it's about faith, and I kind of believe a little bit here. Like I definitely believe it, and the thing is, it's out of our control one way or another. We have like the mechanisms to control our own destiny, but it's not set faith. I don't think like set fate for what we do in our life. And I think it's good guidance in some ways, but some people use it in perverted ways. So you can use it for good or evil.
So the thing with religion getting into like some people I pass stuff on to, they're like, oh, this guy's like a Christian, whatever, and it's like, so what? The way I look at it is, and actually it's a quote from a Robert Earl Keen song is Buddha would have been a good Christian, and Christ would have been a good Buddhist.
Oh yeah, I heard that song recently. That's a great song.
Anyways, and the thing is there is so much good stuff and so many well-meaning lessons and instructions in pretty much all the religions. So I got friends that are like Jewish, I got friends that are Muslim, I got friends that are Christian. And I must say, I like what a lot of these guys have had to say about their religion and certain parts about their religion. But anyways, that's sort of irrelevant. The idea of this affidavit process is that when an affidavit is filed, it stands as the truth until it's rebutted.
Okay.
And then the other idea of this particular affidavit is we're writing these to state representatives because we are instructing our state representatives as the people to do something, to put a stop to these statutory created, and this is what my interpretation is, and my desire of the affidavit is to put a stop to these statutorily created entities from violating our rights, from having any power.
Sure.
And I can actually read just a little bit, sort of kind of the meat of this.
Yeah, give us some highlights.
So take notice that the people have a common law private right to protect, or to Take notice that the people have common law private rights protected from any compelling public interest the government may claim it has to take children, especially when the government has no first-hand witness sworn affidavits of a trespass by any one of the people toward another one of the people. Furthermore, the entity known as DCYF is a creature of the legislature and operates by legislative statutes. There is no jurisdiction for statutory entities to utilize legislative enacted statutes to terminate common law rights belonging to any one of the people.
All right, so for our non-attorney listeners, can you put that into some layman speak? Basically, what does that mean?
So just because a whole bunch of people calling themselves the state legislature created a statute doesn't mean that it terminates the people's rights.
Nice.
So basically, and one of my things is it doesn't say this in this particular affidavit. I'm actually drafting up another one.
Yeah.
That's specific to my situation. But one of the things is I'm going to ask the legislature, the legislative officers that I send this to, is what evidence do you rely on that these revised statutes annotated, the New Hampshire RSAs, apply to someone merely because they're standing on the soil we call New Hampshire.
Right. Yes.
That needs to get out there. Black's Law, 5th edition, defines common law as being distinguished from law made by legislative enactment. So a legislative creature by the name of DCYF moving on the jurisdiction of legislatively enacted statutes operating courts that are not independent of the legislature and therefore are defined by definition are not independent courts of record, are collaborating to usurp jurisdiction not belonging to them, to terminate common law rights of parents to maintain custody of their own children. Government cannot similarly change the status of one of the people from being one of the people to a statutory status as an obligator, non-custodial parent, terminated parent, etc., without constitutional due process by jury, in order to gain jurisdiction and attempt to bypass the people's common law private rights.
So it sounds to me like what this is attempting to do is get this organization, the state in this case, to treat people like people.
Yeah.
Right? So how did we get to a point where something like this becomes necessary? Like, it seems to me like common sense, right? Most people are like, oh, it seems like they should just do that anyway. How come they're not doing that anyway? Why do we need a bunch of people to get together and file some paperwork to make this happen?
How do we get to this point? So there's multiple elements to how we got to this point. So we can go back to the Reconstruction Acts of 1867. We could back up to Executive Order Number 1, which was March 31st, 1861, where, who was, I'm drawing a blank, Lincoln called the militia to stand guard at Washington, D.C. And basically the executive branch has been operating under executive order ever since. And they're still doing executive orders.
Yeah.
50,000 or something stupid, I don't know.
Yeah,
Spending $6 trillion at a swipe of a pen.
So then another element of this is we have, the public school system that has been, grooming children for 12 or 15,000 hours of their life.
Yeah.
And then now we have 20 years of high-speed internet service being available in every city urban liberal area,
so they can track
city,
you.
urban area. So a lot of the kids that, well, let's back up a little bit more. So in the 40s and 50s, they started giving benefits to single moms. So if you want to subsidize single moms, you're going to create, when you subsidize single moms, you create a whole bunch of single moms. So now we have the United States is more single moms actually than any other country in the world.
Really?
Oh yeah,
It sounds about right.
The amount of children.
I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I just never heard that before.
Because Big Daddy government gonna help you out without your real biological dad.
So then we have multiple elements. So right now, like a lot of people, like my parents' age, they sort of have a lot less confidence in general than a generation before them. As these generations are going on, the confidence has been lost because the parents aren't raising the kids, just like you said. For how long now have moms and dads been both needing to have a job in order to have a house and pay the taxes and do the things? So
efficiency is increased. So in logic, if things become more efficient because of technology and that sort, we shouldn't have to work as much. But they've created all kinds of inflation, overspending, all these nonsense wars and whatnot.
Qualified immunity is another reason that we have to, go through this affidavit process. The Federal Reserve printing money out of thin air, essentially giving these governments, unlimited resources.
That's exactly what it is. It's money.
We have the Bar Association, which is basically like an employees union for all the lawyers, all the judges, all the prosecutors.
Legitimize them to keep them around, to keep making more money. It's just no point to what they're doing. We all know it. Everyone's awake to this. Everyone knows this is the truth.
I wish everyone knew. I wish everyone.
Well, you have to solidify like they already know, guys.
But this is really good to lay out these elements. So
psychological.
So let's understand that the Bar Association, through the lawyers and stuff, and all these attorneys, a lot of them are representatives. A lot of them are working in executive branches of government, not as attorneys, but happen to be attorneys.
Right.
All of these Bar Association members have an allegiance and an oath to the bar that is above any oath to the people. Even the social workers in New Hampshire who run around, collecting babies and harassing people and using the local cops to intimidate people and, bringing these bogus, claims to these, family courts.
Yep.
They don't have an oath of office.
Right. Yeah.
I wrote a public records request to the director of DCYF for the oath of office of Melissa Coombs and the oath of office of the director of DCYF, and they responded with, State employees aren't required to have an oath of office.
Huh.
So the idea,
Wow.
the biggest, the idea behind this affidavit is the state legislature.
Well, you kind of don't want them
controls-
deputized. Then deputize them, right? Sorry to interrupt, but like,
Well, I mean, we can dwell on that for a second. I mean, so first of all, oaths of office, right, is something that you're supposed to take personally when you take one,
yeah,
right? But we know, factually speaking, they appear to be meaningless. At least on a collective basis. Now, individually, somebody might take an oath of office or an oath of, like, even becoming like a policeman or something like that. They take an oath.
Yep.
So
They have to internalize it and take it seriously. And if they don't, well, then what happens?
So I'll tell
they're
you,
breaking their oath to their brothers. But
I will tell you that in Massachusetts, we did a really deep dive on oath of office of prosecutors, judges, state troopers, and local police officers.
Yeah.
So in the John Adams building in Massachusetts, where basically the Supreme Court is, that's where they hold all the oaths for all the judicial officers, and these lawyers are all judicial officers and judges.
Okay.
None of them have a signature on them.
So they
So
recite
illegitimate-
the oath, but they never sign?
So that we don't know if they recite the oath.
Oh.
So basically, from what I understand, the way it was explained to me by a lawyer, that when he went to do his oath,
Yeah.
that he basically went to like some big courtroom or some auditorium. It was like on some kind of graduation whatever day or something.
Okay.
I don't know how it's described, but and then they all took an oath, and he said that somebody recited the oath, and they recited it back, and this is what he said. But I said, did you ever put your signature on an oath on some kind of
that's
oath
where,
card?
yeah. I mean, pictures would be
Exactly.
enough to prove it. But like, I think a signature is important that you're putting your name on this thing because you're wholeheartedly believe in it. Go ahead.
So the state troopers, the judges, and these were judges in land court in Massachusetts, by the way. In fact, there was a judge in Palmer District Court. None of them had subscribed oath cards. And the Constitution clearly says in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts that all government agents are to sign and subscribe, swear and subscribe and scribe an oath and put their signature on it. And they don't do that. Well, so the local police in Palmer, the ones that like Palmer, Mass, and actually a couple of towns in New Hampshire I've seen where the local police actually sign an oath of office.
Oh.
The local police actually have that. Your state representatives sign an oath of office.
Think of like an oath as it's very important because like just like how a doctor takes an oath to do no harm.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they're saying? I'm taking an oath to this office and I'm gonna hold my integrity on the line
Well,
to do no harm.
The oath states, I, Joe Schmo, do hereby swear to uphold the rights of the people as described in the Constitution for the state of New Hampshire and the Constitution for the United States of America. That I'm paraphrasing.
sure, yeah.
So the important thing is about the oath, and if you go on my YouTube channel, Jay Noon, just I believe that's what my YouTube channel is. You can find a yeah, I'm really bad at that kind of stuff, but you can find there's a video where the social worker comes to my land, comes to my home.
Yep.
And I asked her in the video, I said, do you have an oath of office? And the reason I asked her that is because she starts telling me she has a right to access my children. And the thing is if you do an internet search, so I did an internet search, NH, New Hampshire DCYF settlements.
I remember this was highlighted on High Impact Flicks. I just want to drop his name because if you want to see like, there's a big video now. You've gotten a lot of views on that, right?
I don't. Oh, yes. So yes, that's right. High Impact Flicks. Yeah, he did talk about that. I don't know how many views that.
I'll have to look it up,
got.
but there's some attention to it. So hopefully that helped. I don't know if that you got some contact.
Not really. That guy did put that he wanted to interview me, but nothing ever happened with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, so if you just internet search your local state and and Child Protection Service settlements. Well, in New Hampshire, I just kept on finding like these horrible articles. In fact, it made me sick to my stomach just imagining, like children, like 3, 4, 5-year-old kids being, molested by, foster parents that
Right.
are DCYF employees that are put and then I find all this stuff like
There's a bunch of cover up of that stuff
oh,
too.
oh,
That's
for
gone on
sure.
for
Oh, for sure.
30 years or something.
And
I heard a crazy story in Rhode Island. It was insane.
there is so much crazy stuff going on with DCYF. Did you actually hear Eamon Bundy got a judgment against him for $52 million from St. Luke's Hospital because he put out a call to action for people to basically like look into, and like the St. Luke's Hospital was involved in child trafficking, where they took a baby. The baby's name is Baby Cyrus. There's a whole documentary about Baby Cyrus, where they take this baby for medical neglect, and as soon as they take the baby, the state seizes the baby from the rightful family. They give it to a foster family. They adopt it out.
Right.
This adoption racket is huge, and one of the things with my particular case is all the people that I had talked to that had dealt with DCYF and had DCYF issues. As soon as they looked at my kids, they're like, "Wow, your kids are beautiful, and they're smart, and they're unvaccinated, and like they're all there." My kids are like, light years, ahead of most of their peers. Now, actually, all the kids that they hang out with are homeschooled and unvaccinated, so those kids are all on the same level, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're like, "Oh yeah, they want your kids."
Yeah.
They want to take that baby. They're worth a lot of money on the above board adoption thing.
Well, and there's an underground circuit too. There are people, kids, who disappear every year from foster systems, child protection services, even newborns who just vanish.
Montgomery,
where do they go?
Montgomery Harmony is one. She was taken from the mom. The mom was having some type of substance abuse issue. Didn't seem like she was really a bad mother, from what I could tell. And sort of given to the father, and the father was like, from what I understand, I could be a little wrong, and it's been a while since I got into it, but basically the mom's like, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby? You took my kid." And they're like, "Yeah, nothing from DCYF." She's going crazy about it. And then turns out the baby's been missing for 2 years. Nobody had contact with it. The father, got some, dead known prostitute in his apartment in Manchester. The guy's like a drug dealer. His mugshot looks like somebody who was on a cast of Breaking Bad. Just typical whatever. Junkie.
Yeah.
And so anyways, the kid's just missing. And that's gonna be that's a massive liability to the people.
Oh yeah.
Another reason that an affidavit like this is very much of interest, should be of interest to anyone in New Hampshire who pays taxes. So if you buy gasoline, or you went to a restaurant, you paid some taxes, or you own some land, you pay some taxes, you register a car, you pay some taxes. The second, I believe it's Article 2 of the New Hampshire Constitution, talks about how taxpayers, which is not a term I like to identify as, but they have a right to sue the state.
Yeah.
So by by the qualified immunity, by the the fact that these social workers are literally trained to maximize revenue for DCYF, that these people are extremely inefficient, they cost a lot of money. And they are making your taxes go up. They are clearly just wasting time, wasting money, especially with my case. And I caught them. Most people don't catch them in these kind of lies, don't point out these kind of lies, because they're just scared, and they usually hire a lawyer, and a lawyer tells them just to cooperate and just to go along and get along, and plea bargain, because the purpose of a lawyer is keep everybody in a box.
Right. Yeah.
So,
more money too. It's just another money pit.
I wanted to say, it looks like your YouTube channel is at jnoon4501.
Okay.
That's JAYNOONE, for those of you who don't know how to spell Mr. Noon's name, at jnoon4501. If folks in New Hampshire want to support you in this affidavit and the people who've assisted you in putting this together, how can they do that?
Okay, so my website is not set up for this yet. I was actually just earlier today talking with a guy to help me out on who helped me out with this. I'm going to make a link on my website specifically to this affidavit.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll happen within the next 24 hours. I honestly don't even know how to do that part. But
it's okay. You're human? What?
Yep. so to help out me, if you wanted to email me, jay@jnoon.com. That's JAY@JAYNOONE.com. And you want to, I'll send you a direct link to this particular affidavit. But if you're on New Hampshire and you are disgusted with what's going on with DCYF and the fact, in this particular case, DCYF and Concord Police have colluded against my wife, because what had happened is, the social workers, lied in two affidavits that about what the police had said, and the police had stated. The chief of police actually went into court, did an expedited motion to intervene, and got a motion to vacate. They actually put a contempt order on us, which is just some bogus. It's all bogus in family court because you can't hold someone in contempt unless they've been ordered to do something, and the assessment doesn't order the mom or dad in these cases to do something. It orders the police officer. Oh, here's a whole nother element. I said to the local police, I go, hey, you guys want to commit this, complete this assessment? Go for it. And DCYF told the local police they weren't qualified to do the assessment because DCYF does not get the federal government money unless they do it. Even though the assessment order says a police officer or social worker shall, inspect premises, interview child, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's a whole racketeering scam, and we need to pressure the people in legislature via these affidavits. We, as the people, need to order our servants to do their job. And my intention is to shut down DCYF so it can't violate anyone else's rights, because the taxpayers of New Hampshire have paid out over $300 million, quite literally, in the past decade in settlements by DCYF. And then you got that whole Sununu Center where they were raping kids for years.
Right.
And nobody's stayed after school. Nobody went for detention. And this is also why we have to get rid of qualified immunity. We need to get rid of the federal government, kick it out of our life, because the federal government is pouring tons of money into this to make this stuff happen.
Great job, Jay. I appreciate what you do. Good luck with all of this.
Thank you.
We've got more Free Talk Live coming up. We want to talk about, we could talk about our congressman unethical. We could also talk about some other stuff. We'll also take your calls and thoughts at 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next.
All right, guys. You guys got to call in. Call in.
If we could put the
bring up
link to the
topics.
affidavit maybe in the show notes.
Yep.
I don't have enough room for that.
Peace out, guys.
I won't put it in the notes.